You can lose a relationship in silence, and it won't be the silence of the person who stopped caring. It'll be yours the day you stop explaining yourself. No anger, no final speech, just a quiet, exhausted decision. I'm done proving that my feelings are real, and that silence will say more than 1,000 explanations ever did.
For a long time, you believed that if you just explained it better, they would finally understand. You softened every sentence so they wouldn't get defensive. You weren't asking for too much. You were just asking to be understood. But when you over-explain, you teach them that your feelings are up for debate. Your needs became a request they could approve or deny. Every explanation became a tiny apology for having needs at all.
Then comes the day you stop. Not out of revenge, not to teach them a lesson. You stop because something inside you is simply tired. Tired of building bridges to someone who keeps standing on the other side. At first, they don't even notice. Your silence feels easy to them. But that peace is borrowed. For years, you held the relationship together with words, doing the emotional work for two people. The cracks were always there. You were just the one filling them. Slowly, they start to feel it. The conversations that used to flow now sit flat. You answer, but you don't reach anymore. They notice you stopped fighting for things, and that scares them more than the fighting ever did. Your effort was their proof that you still cared. Your silence removes that proof. Now they're left with a question they never had to ask before. Have I been taking this person for granted? This is where the dynamic quietly flips. You're no longer auditioning for their understanding. You're not editing yourself to keep the peace anymore. You've stopped translating your pain into language gentle enough for them to accept. Now, they have to start thinking for themselves about you. For the first time, the emotional weight isn't yours alone to carry. You didn't take your power back by raising your voice. You took it back by lowering it.
But let's be honest about something, because it matters. Going quiet isn't always strength. Sometimes silence is a boundary, and sometimes it's just another way to hide. And over-explaining isn't always pure love either. Sometimes it's just anxiety wearing the costume of love. The difference is the intention underneath it. If your silence comes from peace, from finally accepting yourself, it heals you. But if it comes from punishment, it's just the same chase wearing a quieter mask. Real growth isn't going silent at someone. It's no longer needing their reaction to feel okay. In the quiet, the memories come back to them differently. They remember the times you tried to talk, and they called you too sensitive. The times you asked for more, and they made you feel needy. The times you explained your hurt, and they explained why it wasn't a big deal. Now those moments don't feel like victories. They feel like missed chances. They begin to understand. Your over-explaining was never about controlling them. It was you trying to stay. You didn't get cold. You got tired. There's a difference. Coldness can be argued with. Exhaustion can't. But the real transformation isn't happening in them. It's happening in you. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop believing your worth depends on someone else's agreement. Your feelings were always valid, even when no one validated them, especially then. Being understood is not something you earn with the perfect paragraph. The right people don't need a courtroom argument to take your feelings seriously. You stop shrinking your needs into something small enough to be acceptable. You stop apologizing for the size of your heart. The anxiety that lived in your chest, did I say it right? Did they get it? Begins to quiet down. You stop replaying conversations at night.
You stop rehearsing sentences before sending them. You're not waiting to be understood anymore. You finally understand yourself.
Here's what this whole experience teaches you. Some people will only understand you once you stop explaining. Not because they couldn't before, but because they never had to. Your effort gave them the luxury of not paying attention. And some people, even in your silence, still won't get it. That's painful, but it's also clarity. That silence becomes a filter. It separates the ones who reach for you from the ones who only reached when you reached first. When you stop walking, you finally see who walks toward you. Either way, you win something. You win the truth. A relationship where you have to constantly defend your right to feel isn't a relationship. It's a negotiation. And love was never meant to be negotiated.
So if you're the one who finally went quiet, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect, know this. You didn't give up. You gave up carrying it alone. There's a difference. One is surrender. The other is wisdom. You spent so long being fluent in someone else's emotions that you forgot you were allowed to feel your own. Without a translation, without a justification, without permission. You forgot your feelings didn't need to be approved before they could exist. Your silence isn't the end of your voice. It's the moment your voice finally stopped begging to be heard and started speaking for you. Real connection doesn't ask you to explain why you deserve care. It just gives it. One day, you'll look back at all of it. The conversations, the careful words, the nights you couldn't sleep. And you'll realize the most powerful thing you ever said was the sentence you finally chose not to say at all. That silence wasn't your defeat. It was your becoming. If this spoke to your heart, hit that like button, share your story in the comments, and subscribe for more truths like this one. Your silence found you here for a reason.